The bell does not ring loudly. It does not need to. It rolls across the stone like a slow wave, low, distant, patient. One note, then another, then silence stretching between them. You are not asleep. Not fully, you are resting, floating somewhere between dreaming and waking. The bell comes again, deep, hollow, unrushed. The night is not in a hurry. You lie still for a moment longer. Beneath you, the stone holds the memory of the day's warmth no longer. It has turned cold again. Cold in the way stone always does. Quietly, completely. The blanket over you is rough wool, thick, heavy, slightly scratchy against your neck. You do not move yet. The bell fades. Nothing has begun yet. Your breathing is slow, in through your nose, out through your mouth. The air is colder than it was when you first lay down. It brushes across your face and settles in your lungs. You become aware of your hands first. One rests on your chest, the other against the floor beside you. The stone beneath your palm is firm and unmoving. It does not care if you rise. It does not care if you sleep. It simply remains. The night is not in a hurry. Somewhere farther inside the castle, a faint shuffle of movement begins. Another guard rising, another blanket shifting. No one speaks. There is no need. You blink once, twice. The dark above you is not complete darkness. A faint blue slips through the narrow slit in the wall. Moonlight, thin and patient. You draw in a slightly deeper breath. The bell will not ring again. It does not have to. You know your turn has come. Slowly, you push the blanket down. The cold meets your arms first, then your shoulders, then your neck. It is not cruel, just steady. You sit up. The motion is unhurried. Your back straightens slowly, vertebra by vertebra. The room shifts from horizontal to vertical around you. For a moment, you simply sit there, letting the body wake before the mind does. Nothing has begun yet. Your boots wait near the wall, dark leather, worn at the heel, dust from yesterday still clinging to the seams. You reach for them. The leather is stiff from the cold. It bends reluctantly as you pull one on. Your heel presses down. The sole meets stone. Then the other, you stand. The weight settles into your legs. Your knees do not protest. They simply accept. Against the wall, your leather armor hangs from a wooden peg. It is not polished like a knight's. It does not shine. It is practical, layered, functional, heavy enough to remind you of its presence. You lift it. The straps brush against your wrists. You slide it over your shoulders. The leather creaks softly as it settles into place. A familiar sound, a small sound, a sound that means the night is continuing. You tighten the straps, not too tight, just enough. The night is not in a hurry. There is time to move carefully. Your fingers feel the edges of buckles, the slight roughness where the stitching has begun to fray. You smooth it down without thinking. You reach for your gloves, pull them on slowly. Flex your fingers once, twice. The air moves faintly through the narrow slit in the wall again, a thin current. It brushes the side of your face. The moon has shifted slightly since you lay down. Not much, just enough. You pick up your helmet. It is simple, iron rim, leather lining inside. You lower it onto your head. The world grows slightly more contained, quieter. Your spear rests near the doorway. You take it in your hand. Its shaft is smooth from use, worn where your grip always settles. Your thumb finds that place without looking. For a moment you stand there fully dressed, awake now, but unhurried. Nothing has begun yet. The torch bracket near the door holds a dying ember from the previous watch. You kneel beside it. Carefully, you take a small strip of cloth soaked earlier in oil. Wrap it around the torch head. Press it near the ember. You wait. The night is not in a hurry. A thin thread of smoke rises first. Then a spark. Then a small, steady flame. It grows slowly. Not bright, not dramatic, just enough to see. The fire crackles softly. It does not roar. It does not flare. It simply burns. You stand again. The torchlight moves across the stone walls. Shadows stretch, then settle. Your shadow is tall and narrow against the far wall. You watch it for a moment. Then you turn toward the door. Your boots make a dull sound against the floor, not loud, just present. The corridor beyond is dim. A faint line of torchlight already glows somewhere in the distance. Another guard has stepped out before you. The castle does not wake all at once. It stirs, slowly, patiently. You rest your hand briefly on the wooden door. Feel the grain beneath your palm. The slight unevenness. The small splinter near the edge that has been there for years. You pull it open. The hinge groans quietly, not in complaint, just acknowledgement. Cold air slips in from the hallway. Your torch flame leans slightly, then steadies. The night remains. It does not hurry you. It does not push you forward. It simply waits. You take one step. Then another. The stone beneath your boots is colder here. The corridor stretches ahead, narrow and long. Faint echoes travel from somewhere unseen. You adjust your grip on the spear. The leather creaks once more as you settle your shoulders. Nothing has begun yet. The bell has rung. The watch is yours. And slowly, you step out into the corridor. You step out into the corridor. The door closes behind you with a dull wooden sound. Not loud, not sharp, just final. The hallway is narrow, built for defense, not comfort. Stone on both sides. Stone beneath your boots. Stone above your head. The air is cooler here than in the sleeping chamber. A thin draft moves through the arrow slits cut into the walls. The openings are tall and narrow, like vertical scars in the stone. Wind slips through them quietly, not strong enough to howl, just enough to remind you that outside, the night is open and wide. Your torch burns low. The flame leans slightly with each passing draft. Wax and smoke scent the air. Another torch further down the corridor has nearly burned itself into a dim orange glow. No one rushes to replace it. It will last long enough. Your boots strike the stone in a slow, steady rhythm. Heavy, measured, unhurried. There is no need to rush. The night is already in progress. It has been unfolding for hours without you. Ahead, another guard walks in the opposite direction. His face is half lit by firelight, half shadow. You do not greet each other. There is no need. He has finished his watch. You are beginning yours. You pass shoulder to shoulder. Leather brushes leather. The corridor returns to quiet. A faint draft moves again through the arrow slits. It touches your cheek and disappears down the hallway behind you. You adjust your grip on your spear, not because it is slipping, simply because you have been holding it the same way for several steps. Further ahead, near the base of the stairwell, stands the captain. He does not stand dramatically. He simply stands. His cloak hangs straight. His expression is calm. His eyes move briefly toward you as you approach. He nods. It is not approval. It is not inspection. It is acknowledgement. You nod back. No words are exchanged. There is nothing that needs to be said. Beside him hangs the duty board, a flat wooden panel fixed to the wall, names carved into its surface. Small iron hooks beneath each carving. You reach for the small wooden marker bearing your name. The edges are worn smooth from handling. You lift it. You hang it on the hook beneath tonight's watch. The wood makes a soft clicking sound as it settles into place. Now the wall belongs to you. The captain turns slightly, already shifting his attention elsewhere. Another guard approaches behind you to sign in for a different post. You move toward the stairwell. The staircase coils upward inside the tower like a stone spine. Narrow steps, uneven from years of boots wearing them down. You begin to climb. Each step is deliberate, boot against stone, breath in, breath out. The torchlight dances along the curved walls as you ascend. Shadows stretch and bend with each movement. Your free hand brushes the inner wall for balance. The stone is cold, not painfully so, just firm and ancient. Your fingers slide across small imperfections, tiny pits in the surface, places where mortar has crumbled slightly. The wall has stood longer than you have been alive. It will likely stand long after. Your breath echoes softly in the enclosed space. A slow rhythm, in, out, in, out. Halfway up, the air grows slightly cooler. The The drafts find their way even into the stairwell. The flame of your torch flickers harder for a moment, then steadies. Above you, faint moonlight spills down from the opening at the top of the tower. You continue climbing, step, step, step. There is no strain in your body, no urgency in your pace. This climb happens every night you are assigned to it. Your legs know the distance without counting. At last, the spiral loosens. The ceiling opens, the air changes. You take the final step upward, and you step onto the wall. You stand on the wall. The stone beneath your boots has held the night longer than the air has. It keeps its cold. It gives nothing back. Beyond the castle walls, the fields stretch outward in soft darkness. During the day, they are patterned with lines of crops and narrow paths worn by cartwheels. But now they are only shapes. Long, open space fading into shadow. The moon hangs above them, not full, not thin, just enough to silver the edges of things. It rests slightly to your left, higher than the tallest tower, pale and steady. It does not hurry across the sky. It never does. The light touches the tops of the fields but does not reach the ground. Down below, near the earth, a faint mist has gathered. It sits low and quiet, like breath that never quite rises. It drifts so slowly that you would not notice its movement unless you stared for a long time. Farther out, the trees form a black outline against the horizon. No leaves are visible from here, only a jagged edge, a dark seam between land and sky. You let your gaze rest there. Nothing moves. The torches behind you give off a soft crackle. The sound is small, contained. The flames bend gently with the wind that slips along the wall. You shift your weight, not because anything demands it, only because standing still for too long becomes its own discomfort. Your right foot eases back. Your left knee bends slightly. The leather of your boot creases. The motion is slow, almost unnoticed. The spear in your hand tilts with you. You lean on it. The wood is familiar against your palm, smoothed by use, slightly rough where your thumb rests. It carries the weight of your arm without complaint. You scan the fields from left to right, slowly, not searching for anything in particular, just following the line of the wall. The edge of the mist, the dark seam of trees, left, center, right, then back again. Nothing moves, nothing changes, nothing approaches. The words settle inside your mind without urgency. You are not waiting for battle. You are not expecting glory. The castle behind you sleeps. Windows dark, fires low. People wrapped in blankets you will not touch tonight. You scan again. Left, center. Right, the moon has shifted, though only by a finger's width. Its light now catches on the top of a distant fence post. For a moment, it looks like something standing upright in the field. You look a little longer. It remains a fence post. Nothing moves, nothing changes, nothing approaches. The wind brushes along the side of your face. It is not strong enough to sting. Only enough to remind you that the air is always moving, even when the world feels still. You draw a slow breath in. Let it out. Your shoulders rise, then fall. You are not a knight. You do not ride at the front of a charge. You do not wear polished armor that gleams in daylight. You stand, you watch, you remain. Your name is not sung in halls. No banners carry your crest. No one writes stories about the guard who stayed awake. You are not important, and the thought does not trouble you. It is simply true. You adjust your grip on the spear. The wood shifts slightly under your fingers. A small correction, nothing more. The mist near the ground curls faintly around a low dip in the field. It looks almost like water, though it is not. The trees remain black and unmoving. You scan again. Left, center, right. Nothing moves, nothing changes, nothing approaches. Your boots press into the same two stones they have pressed into for the past several minutes. You notice the uneven edge beneath your heel. You had not felt it at first. Now you do. You lift your foot slightly. Set it down again, a fraction to the side. Better. Behind you, somewhere deeper in the castle courtyard, a shutter shifts gently in its frame, wood brushing wood. Then stillness returns. You lean slightly forward over the wall, but not too far, just enough to see the slope of land directly below the stone. The drop is familiar. You do not look down long. You return your gaze outward. The moonlight gives the world a soft sameness. Details fade, edges blur, distance feels larger than it is. Time stretches. It does not rush forward, it spreads thin. You breathe in again. Your breath leaves in pale mist. You are simply present, not heroic, not tragic, not watched, just here. Your eyes trace the line of the horizon once more. Left, center, right. Nothing moves, nothing changes, nothing approaches. The wind shifts direction just slightly. It brushes your cloak against your back instead of your side. The fabric makes a quiet sound, almost like a whisper. For a moment, the mist in the field stirs more noticeably, pulled in a new direction. It thins, then gathers again. Still no movement. Still no change. Still no approach. Your grip loosens on the spear, then tightens again. Not from fear, only from habit. You blink slowly. The moon remains steady. The trees remain dark. The fields remain empty. And then far in the distance, beyond the outer edge of the fields, a dog barks once. It is not sharp, not urgent, just a single sound carried by the night air. You pause. You listen. The sound does not come again. The wind moves softly across the wall, and the silence resumes. The cold has settled in fully now, not the dramatic kind that bites. Not the kind that shocks, the slow kind, the patient kind. It presses into your fingers first. You adjust your grip on the spear. The wood feels harder than before, less forgiving. Your fingertips respond more slowly when you move them. Not frozen, just dulled. You flex them once. Then again. The leather of your gloves has stiffened. It creaks faintly when your knuckles bend. The stone beneath your boots gives nothing back. It does not soften. It does not warm. The stone remains cold. Your nose begins to sting. A quiet, persistent sensation. The air is sharper now. You inhale slowly. The cold slides inward. It touches the back of your throat. When you exhale, your breath blooms white in front of you. A small cloud. It drifts. It disappears. You watch one breath leave. Then another. Then another. The rhythm is steady. Behind you, your cloak stirs. The wind does not arrive all at once. It moves in long, thin passes. Just enough to lift the edge of fabric. The wool brushes against the back of your legs, then settles. You do not turn. There is nothing to see. The wind keeps moving. Your boots feel heavier than they did earlier. The leather has tightened. The soles are firm against the stone. You shift your weight from one foot to the other, slowly, carefully. The movement is small, but it reminds your legs they are still yours. You lift your heels slightly. Let them fall back down. The sound is muted, dull against the wall. You stamp your feet once. Not loudly, just enough to stir warmth. Then again. A small vibration runs up through your calves. It fades quickly. The cold does not retreat, it only adjusts. The stone remains cold. Your shoulders have crept upward without your noticing. You let them fall back down. Then you rotate them slowly. Forward once, backward once. The joints respond stiffly at first, then more freely. The armor shifts against your tunic, a soft scrape of leather on wool. You roll your neck gently, left, right. The night does not react. Your hands return to one another. You rub them together slowly. The friction builds faint heat, brief, fleeting. You press your palms tighter, then release. The sensation returns to its previous dullness. Your fingers move slower now, but they still move. You remain. Another breath leaves you, white against the dark. The air has grown quieter, or perhaps you have grown used to it. You blink. Your eyelids linger closed for half a second longer than before. When they open, nothing has changed. The fields remain still. The trees remain dark. The moon has shifted only slightly. Barely enough to measure. Your nose stings again. A thin ache. You inhale through your mouth this time. The air feels different there. Still cold, just softer. You adjust your cloak at the shoulders. Pull it closer to your throat. The fabric resists at first, then settles into place. The wind passes once more, lifts the edge, lets it fall. The wind keeps moving. You stamp your feet again. Slower now, left, then right. The vibration climbs upward and fades. Your calves tighten slightly, then relax. Your grip shifts on the spear once more. You are careful not to squeeze too tightly. There is no need. Your fingers answer with mild reluctance, but they answer. The stone beneath you remains unchanged. It does not care who stands upon it. The stone remains cold. Another breath. Another pale cloud. Your jaw tightens without instruction. You loosen it. You let your tongue rest gently against your teeth. You swallow once. The air continues to move across your face, not harsh. Not kind, simply present. You rotate your shoulders again, slowly this time with intention. A faint warmth begins at the center of your back. It spreads outward, then fades. The cold is patient. You press your hands together again. Rub slowly, back and forth. The sound is barely audible beneath the wind. You lower them, rest them against the spear. You blink. The night remains unchanged. You remain. Your boots press into the stone. Solid, grounded. The cold has not grown worse. It has only settled. Your breath continues. In, out, visible, then gone. The cloak flutters once more behind you, then rests. The wind keeps moving. The stone remains cold. You remain. The night has settled into its deepest quiet. The wind has grown softer now, not gone. Just thinner. You rest your hands on the cool stone of the wall. Your fingers no longer sting from the cold. They simply feel distant, as if they belong to someone standing a few steps away. You listen. For a while there is nothing, only your breathing, slow, measured, even. Then an owl calls from somewhere beyond the trees, low, hollow, patient. The sound carries farther than it should. It folds across the fields and reaches the stone beneath your boots. You do not move. You simply listen. The owl calls again. Then silence returns. The fields remain dark. The trees remain still. The castle remains unchanged. You shift your weight slightly. Leather creaks softly at your shoulder. Your spear rests against the wall beside you. Again nothing. The quiet stretches. Then a faint rustle in the grass below the outer wall. Not loud, not sudden. Just a brushing sound, like fabric against fabric. You tilt your head slightly. You listen longer than necessary. Your eyes trace the edge of the field. The mist sits low. The ground is still. The rustle comes once more, then stops. The wind drifts across the grass. It moves in slow waves. It is only the wind. Your shoulders loosen again. You breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. The stone beneath your boots remains steady. The torch beside you flickers. Its flame bends, then straightens. Time moves without announcing itself. Far beyond the outer ditch, something shifts. A distant animal movement. Perhaps a fox. Perhaps a stray dog. You cannot see it. You do not need to. A faint snapping of a twig, then another. You do not lean forward. You do not grip your spear. You simply listen. You listen longer than necessary. The sound fades into the wider quiet. The fields remain empty. The sky remains wide and dark. It is only the wind moving through dry branches. Your breathing returns to its earlier rhythm, slow, even. The night is not interested in you, and you are not interested in the night. Minutes pass without shape. The torch beside you cracks softly as resin inside the wood shifts. A tiny spark rises, then disappears. You watch it without thinking. Below, near the wooden outer gate, there is a low groan. Old wood adjusting, the hinges settling under their own weight. A slow, tired sound. You turn your head slightly toward it. The gate does not open. It does not move again. The castle breathes in its own way. Wood shifts. Stone cools. Metal contracts in the cold. You listen longer than necessary. Nothing follows. It is only the wood settling into the night. You adjust your gloves. The fabric is rough against your palms. Your fingers flex once, twice. The owl does not return. The grass no longer rustles. The animal has moved on to somewhere you cannot see. The gate stands quiet. The torch burns lower. You remain where you are, watching, not expecting, not anticipating, simply present. Another stretch of quiet unfolds, long enough that you stop measuring it. The moon has shifted slightly. You did not see it move, but it has. The shadow of the tower now falls at a different angle across the courtyard below. You had not noticed until now. You rest your forearms against the stone. The surface holds the cold of the entire night. It does not change. A faint breeze brushes the edge of your cloak. The fabric lifts gently, then settles again. Somewhere far beyond the fields, a dog barks once, distant enough to feel like memory. You do not react. You listen longer than necessary. No second bark comes. The world remains as it was, still. Untroubled, your breathing slows again. The sounds of the night have spoken in their small ways, and now they have returned to quiet. The wind moves across the fields. The trees do not argue. The castle does not respond. You stand on the wall. The night continues. Nothing approaches, nothing changes, nothing happens. And slowly, very slowly, the silence grows comfortable again. The wall has grown familiar beneath your boots. The stone no longer feels sharp or foreign. It simply exists, solid, cool, unmoving. Your hands rest over the top of your spear. The wood is smooth where other hands have held it before yours. You shift your fingers slightly, not because you must, only because you can. The night stretches. The moon continues its slow path. You did not always stand on walls. Once, your hands were in soil. You remember the weight of a wooden plow handle, the slow pull of oxen through damp earth, the smell of turned ground rising in the morning air. It was quieter then in a different way. No stone corridors, no iron hinges, only wind across fields and the low hum of insects. You were not unhappy there. You were not especially happy either. There was work, there was rest, there was weather. The moon continues its slow path. You became a guard not because of glory. There was no great calling, no dramatic turning point. The castle needed men who could stand still for long hours. You could stand still. The pay was not impressive, but it arrived regularly. Coin placed in your palm at the end of each week. Small, predictable, enough. Enough for boots that do not fall apart. Enough for bread and ale. Enough to sleep under stone instead of leaking thatch. The moon continues its slow path. You remember the first winter away from home. The wind against the castle walls felt sharper than wind across open fields. It had corners to catch in, edges to sharpen itself against. Your cloak was thinner then, your boots newer and stiff, your hands unused to holding a spear through frozen hours. You did not complain. No one else did either. You simply learned where to stand to avoid the worst of the draft. You learned how to keep your fingers moving without looking restless. You learned how long a night could feel. The moon continues its slow path. Your family did not protest when you left. There were already enough hands in the field. Another mouth meant another winter's calculation. Here at least your portion is certain. You are not rich. You do not wear polished armor. You do not dine in the great hall except on festival days. Your name is not spoken loudly. But you are not poor. Your boots are whole. Your cloak is mended. Your meals are steady. There is comfort in steadiness. The moon continues its slow path. A breeze slides across the wall. You adjust your stance. Below, the fields remain quiet. Dark shapes of trees hold their place against the sky. You wonder briefly what the farm looks like now. Perhaps the fence has been repaired. Perhaps the old shed finally leans too far and has been taken down. Perhaps nothing has changed at all. You do not feel pulled strongly in either direction. The farm was work. This is work. The moon continues its slow path. You roll your shoulders once. The leather shifts softly. Being a guard is not heroic. It is not poetic. It is standing. It is watching. It is remaining. Some nights pass without a single raised voice. Most nights pass without memory. And yet, you are here each time. There is something steady in that. The moon continues its slow path. You remember your first coin from the captain. It felt heavier than expected, cool, stamped with the Lord's crest. You turned it over in your fingers for longer than necessary, not because of pride, not because of excitement, but because it was certain. It would be there next week, and the week after. That certainty is quiet comfort. The moon continues its slow path. A distant owl calls once. You listen, then return your gaze outward. There is no movement below, no lantern approaching, no late rider on the road. The castle sleeps. You are simply awake while it does. You are not important, but you are necessary, and that is enough. The moon continues its slow path. You think about how many nights you have stood here. They blend together. Cold nights, milder nights, windy nights. Still ones like this. If someone asked you to describe them, you might struggle. They are not marked by events. They are marked by presence, by breath rising into the dark, by boots planted against stone, by the slow turning of the sky. The moon continues its slow path. Your grip on the spear loosens slightly. You are not tense. You are not bored. You are simply here. The farm had seasons. The castle has watches. Both move in circles. Plant, harvest, snow, thaw, bell, wall, dawn, rest. The moon continues its slow path. You take one slow breath in. The air is cool but no longer biting. Your shoulders settle. Whatever tomorrow brings will likely look much like yesterday. Another bell, another wall, another quiet stretch of hours. There is no urgency in that thought, only rhythm. The moon continues its slow path, and you remain. Your shift has stretched long enough that the cold feels familiar. You turn from the edge of the wall. The wind continues without you. You begin the descent. The spiral staircase waits in shadow, narrow, stone worn smooth at the center from decades of boots. Your hand rests against the inner wall. The stone is colder here. It does not know the sun. Your boots move carefully, step by step. The sound echoes softly downward, not loud, not hollow, just contained. The torchlight fades behind you as you descend. Below, a faint glow trembles against the curve of the stairwell. The air grows still. No wind here, only stone holding its breath. You descend slowly. There is no reason to hurry. The night will not end faster. Your shoulders ease slightly with every step. At the bottom, the small guard room waits. It is little more than a square carved into stone. A low ceiling, thick walls, a narrow slit window too small to offer a view. A wooden bench rests against one wall. The wood is scratched, worn smooth where countless guards have sat before you. A small table stands near the center. Crooked legs, rough surface, carved initials from years long gone. On the table, a single candle burns. Its flame leans gently, though there is no wind. It flickers without urgency. The room smells faintly of wax, of damp stone, of old leather. Another guard sits on the bench. He does not look up immediately. He knows the rhythm of footsteps on these stairs. You nod once. He nods back. No words are needed. You sit. The bench creaks quietly under your weight. You remove your gloves. Your fingers feel stiff, slow to bend, slow to warm. You flex them gently. The candle flame moves again. You reach into your satchel, bread wrapped in cloth. The cloth is thin and slightly damp from the night air. You unfold it carefully. The bread is dense, heavy, rough on the outside. You tear a piece. The sound is small but clear in the quiet room. You lift it to your mouth. You chew slowly. The bread does not rush you. It resists slightly at first, then softens. You chew. You swallow. Your throat moves deliberately. The other guard does the same. 2 men, 2 pieces of bread, one small flame between you. No conversation begins. The silence is not uncomfortable. It simply exists. You take another piece. Chew. Swallow. The candle flickers again. Wax begins to gather at its base, slowly folding over itself. You reach for the small jug beside the table, weak ale. You tilt it carefully. The liquid is cool, slightly bitter, Then, you swallow. It settles quietly in your stomach. The room remains still. Above you, somewhere high along the wall, another guard stands in the wind. Below you, the castle sleeps. You do not think about danger. You do not think about glory. You simply sit. Your shoulders lower. Your breathing slows. The candle flame bends and straightens. Bends and straightens. The other guard rubs his hands together once, then rests them again on his knees. Boots planted, back straight, eyes half focused on nothing in particular. You take the last piece of bread. Chew. Swallow. Wipe your hands slowly on the cloth. Fold the cloth back around what remains. Place it into your satchel. The bench creaks again as you shift. Time feels thicker here. Not slower, just heavier. Contained within stone, you sit for another quiet moment. The candle continues its small, patient work. Flame moving, wax falling. Shadows trembling gently along the walls. You notice the marks carved into the table. Initials, small lines, proof that others have waited here before you. Men whose names you do not know. Men who also descended the spiral staircase. Men who also chewed their bread in silence. The other guard stands first. He stretches slowly. His joints move carefully, as if not to disturb the quiet. He nods once more. You nod back. No words. He ascends the staircase step by step. His boots echo upward, then fade. You remain seated for a few seconds longer. The candle burns lower. You stand. Pull your gloves back on. Adjust your cloak. Lift your spear. Your hand rests briefly on the table. The wood is steady. You turn toward the staircase. The air feels colder as you approach it. You place your foot on the first step. Begin the climb. Each step upward returns a faint whisper of wind. The light from above grows slightly stronger. Your breath deepens. The spiral continues. Upward slowly, without urgency. You reach the top. The night greets you again. The wind resumes its quiet movement along the wall. The fields remain dark. The moon sits slightly lower than before. Nothing has changed, and yet something has rested. You take your place where you stood before. The spear settles into your grip. Your shoulders square gently. The wall waits. The night continues. You return to the wall. The night has reached its quiet center. This is the hour that feels suspended, not beginning, not ending, simply stretched. Time no longer moves in steps, it spreads. You stand where you have been standing. Your boots press into the same worn stone. Your hands rest on the same wood of your spear. Your shoulders hold the same quiet weight. The wind has softened. It does not gust, it passes. Your breath leaves you in pale clouds, slower now. The air has grown colder than it was before. This is the cold that comes just before dawn. The cold that settles deepest into cloth and bone. You shift your fingers inside your gloves. The leather is stiff. The seams press against your skin. Nothing aches sharply. Nothing demands attention. It is simply there. Above you the stars remain, but they are not as bright as they were. You notice this gradually. One star seems softer. Another seems thinner. The sky is still dark, still wide, still endless. But something has changed. You do not rush to name it. You let the sky remain what it is. The fields beyond the wall are darker than the sky. A low stretch of shadow resting beneath the faint light above. The trees stand as they have stood all night, black outlines against black earth. You listen. No hoofbeats, no voices, no movement against the gates. Only the quiet sound of air passing stone. You are awake. The world is asleep. The words settle in you without drama. You are awake. The world is asleep. Somewhere beyond these fields, someone else is awake, but you do not know them. Perhaps they stand watch as you do. Perhaps they sit beside a candle. Perhaps they rise from uneasy rest. You will never see them. The thought does not trouble you. It does not comfort you either. It simply exists. The night is wide enough for many wakeful souls. You lean slightly against the wall. The stone draws the warmth from your arm. You straighten again. You scan the horizon slowly. Left to right, right to left. Nothing moves, nothing approaches, nothing changes. The torch beside you burns lower than it did before. Its flame is smaller now, quieter. Occasionally it gives a soft crackle, a small reminder that something is still burning. Your eyelids lower for a moment longer than they should. Not sleep, just rest. You open them again. The sky has not shifted in any dramatic way. It remains deep and vast. But the stars continue their slow dimming. You cannot see it happening, only the result. Time moves even when you cannot feel it. Time moves even when it stretches thin. This hour does not hurry. It rests across the castle like a blanket, over towers, over empty courtyards, over the sleeping kitchens, over the quiet stables. Inside the walls, doors remain closed. Fires burn low. Bodies lie still beneath rough wool blankets. You imagine the baker sleeping, the stable boy curled on straw, the captain resting in his chamber, all unaware of this exact moment. You are awake. The world is asleep. Your hands tighten slightly on the spear, then loosen. You adjust your stance. Shift weight from one foot to the other. Feel the stiffness in your calves. The cold presses deeper now, not painfully, but steadily. This is the cold that belongs to the last part of night. The air feels thinner, sharper inside your lungs. You inhale slowly, exhale slowly. Mist leaves you, disappears. The horizon remains dark. You do not look for change, you do not wait for it. You simply stand. Another blink, another slow scan of the fields. The trees are still. The grass does not ripple. The gates do not move. Nothing demands your strength. Nothing calls your name. You are not required to be brave. You are only required to remain. This hour feels the longest and also the quietest. It holds no events, no announcements, no arrivals. It holds only space. You listen again. A distant owl calls once, then silence returns. The sound fades quickly into the wide dark. Your breathing steadies. The stone beneath your boots is the same stone touched by guards before you, and will be touched by guards after you. The thought comes gently. You are part of something repeating, night after night, watch after watch. Someone stood here before you. Someone will stand here again. You are awake. The world is asleep. The stars grow fainter still. Not gone, just softened. The sky feels less endless now, less infinite, still vast, but preparing quietly to change. You do not rush it, you do not measure it. You remain where you are, spear steady, cloak heavy, breath slow. The deepest hour begins to loosen its grip, but not yet, for now it is only this. The wall, the wind, the fading stars, and you. Awake, the night does not end all at once. It loosens, slowly. The black above you begins to thin, not brighter yet, just less complete. The kind of darkness that feels softer at the edges. You do not notice it at first. You are still facing the fields, still leaning slightly into the stone, still breathing the same cold air. But the sky has shifted. Black becomes a deep, muted blue. So dark it is almost the same. Almost. The stars remain, but they look less certain. As if they are deciding whether to stay. You blink once. The horizon, far beyond the fields, holds the faintest suggestion of gray. Not light, not color, just a thinning. The mist below the wall moves differently now. It does not cling as tightly to the ground. It drifts in slow, shallow currents, barely visible. You adjust your stance. Your knees feel heavier than they did an hour ago. Not painful, just aware. The wind changes next. It does not stop, it softens. It brushes past you instead of pressing against you. The edge is gone. What remains is cool, almost gentle. Somewhere in the trees, a small sound breaks the quiet. A single bird, not loud, not urgent, just one note. Then silence again. You do not react. You have heard this before. The sky continues its quiet transformation. The blue grows thinner. The horizon grows clearer. The line between land and sky becomes easier to see. Stone beneath your palm no longer feels invisible in the dark. You can see its texture now, the faint unevenness. the cracks that have always been there. Another bird calls, farther away this time. The castle behind you is still asleep. No doors open, no voices carry, no smoke rises yet from the kitchens, only this slow shift. Your shoulders lower slightly. You had not noticed how tightly you were holding them. Your grip on the spear relaxes, not fully, just enough. The stars continue to fade. One disappears, then another, not extinguished. Just lost in the growing blue. The mist thins further, it breaks apart in pieces, dissolving into nothing. You inhale. The air smells different now, less sharp, less night. You are tired. Not dramatically, not deeply, just enough to feel the weight behind your eyes, just enough to feel the night settling into your muscles. But there is no resentment in it, no triumph either. You did not fight anything. You did not conquer anything. You stood. You listened. You remained. The horizon brightens by a shade so small it almost feels imagined. A pale line forms, barely noticeable unless you are watching carefully. You are watching carefully. Another bird joins the first, then another. Soft sounds, scattered and uncoordinated. The fields begin to show their shape. The outline of a fence, the darker line of the distant trees, the gentle slope of land you have stared at for hours without seeing. The world does not awaken suddenly. It unfolds. The wind brushes past you again, lighter now, almost indifferent. Your boots feel heavier, your back a little stiff. You shift your weight from one foot to the other. The sky is no longer black. It is blue, a quiet blue, not yet morning, but no longer night. You feel something small loosen inside you, not joy. Not relief in any grand sense, just completion. The deepest hour has passed. The wall remains. The fields remain. You remain. And the sky, without ceremony, continues to change. The sky has turned a softer shade of gray now. Not bright, not warm, just lighter than it was. Your fingers no longer feel as stiff, or perhaps you have simply stopped noticing. The fields beyond the wall are slowly becoming visible again. The line of trees has shape. The mist is thinning. The world is returning to itself. You hear it before you see him. Footsteps behind you. Measured, unhurried, boots against stone. You do not turn quickly. There is no need. The steps stop a few paces away. You glance back. Another guard stands there, cloak wrapped tight, eyes still heavy with sleep. He looks much as you must have looked an hour ago. There is no greeting, no words about the cold, no complaints about the night, just a small nod. You return it. The exchange is simple. The understanding is older than both of you. You shift your weight once more from habit than necessity. Then you straighten. Your gloves come off slowly. The leather is stiff from the cold. Your fingers feel lighter without them. You tuck them into your belt, adjust the strap of your cloak. The wall does not change. The fields do not change. The morning continues its quiet arrival. You step past him. He moves into your place without ceremony. For a brief moment, you both stand there, one beginning, one finishing. Then you move toward the stairwell. The stone beneath your boots feels the same as it did hours ago. Solid, indifferent. Unmoved by who stands upon it, you begin your descent. The spiral staircase curves downward in familiar turns. Your hand brushes the wall, cold, slightly damp. The sounds of the waking courtyard are faint below. A door opening, a distant voice, a bucket set down, nothing urgent, nothing heroic, just mourning. Your legs feel heavier now, not from battle, not from fear, only from standing. You reach the bottom. The corridor stretches ahead, dim but no longer dark. The torches have burned low, their flames smaller than before. You walk slowly. There is no rush to sleep. It will come on its own. The small guard room is quiet. A blanket waits where you left it, rough wool, thin padding beneath. You sit first, then remove your boots. Your feet rest against the cold floor for a moment before you pull them onto the blanket. You lie down. The stone beneath the thin mattress does not soften. It never does. You pull the blanket over your shoulders. Your breath slows. The sounds of morning grow slightly clearer outside the walls. Another day begins. Another night will come. The bell will ring again tonight. The wall will still be there. And someone will stand where you stood. You close your eyes. The night is finished. But it is not gone. It is only waiting.